All right, let's talk about a piece of tech that is, no joke, completely changing the game for AI. It's called Retrieval-Augmented Generation. You've probably seen it called RAG, and honestly, it's the secret sauce that makes AI actually smart and useful for you.
So, here's a question for you. How is it that a super powerful AI, one that can write a beautiful sonnet or explain quantum physics, has absolutely no idea what your company's business hours are? It seems kind of ridiculous, right? Well, that paradox is exactly what leads us to RAG.
You see, to get why RAG is such a big deal, you first have to understand the core problem with most AIs. I like to think of it as the case of the brilliant but very, very forgetful AI.
And this right here really breaks it down. Your standard large language model is amazing at general stuff because it was trained on a huge chunk of the internet. But here's the catch. That training has a cutoff date. Its knowledge is frozen in the past, so it can't tell you about last night's news, and, more importantly, it knows nothing about your private stuff, your company's internal documents, your personal notes. That entire universe of information is just completely walled off.
So what's the fix? How do we connect this brilliant AI to the information that actually matters in the moment? Well, the idea is surprisingly simple. We give it an open book. And that open book is RAG. It's the technology that builds a bridge from the LLM's general brain to specific outside knowledge. And this is so important because it grounds the AI in actual facts. That means it's way less likely to just hallucinate or make stuff up, which makes its answers so much more trustworthy.
You know, the best way to think about this is like an open book exam. A normal LLM is trying to answer questions from memory like a closed book test. But an LLM with RAG, it gets to look at the textbook, your company website, a live news feed, your project files, before it writes down the answer. And the difference in the quality of that answer is it's night and day.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does this open book exam actually work under the hood? It really comes down to this elegant three-step dance.
It's honestly beautiful in its simplicity. First, the system retrieves the facts it needs. Then it augments or enhances your original question with those facts. And finally, it generates the answer based on all that new context. So let's quickly walk through each one.
So it all kicks off with retrieval. When you ask a question, the system doesn't immediately bother the big LLM. No, first, it acts like a super fast research assistant. It zips through its knowledge source, say your company's internal database, and finds the exact little snippets of text that are most relevant to your question. Then comes step 2, augment. The system takes those juicy bits of info it just found and basically staples them to your original question. It's creating a brand new, much richer prompt. It's like saying to the LLM, okay, the user asked this, but here's all the background reading you need to give a perfect answer. Use this stuff.
And that brings us to the final step, generate. This new beefed-up prompt gets sent to the LLM. Now, the AI can do what it does best, reason and write. But it's doing it based on the specific, factual context it was just handed. The result? A super precise, accurate response. And, get this, you can even see exactly where it got its information, making it reliable and easy to double-check.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's make this concrete and see how it works in the real world. We're going to look at a really simple example, building a helpful chatbot for a small business.
So let's meet Victoria on Move. They're a moving company down in Australia, and they want a chatbot on their site to answer customer questions. Now, a standard chatbot wouldn't know anything about their specific services or hours. But with RAG, we can fix that.
So, what's our AI's open book in this case? It's just the company's own website. We're going to point our RAG system to 3 specific pages: their home page, their services page, and their contact page. That's it. That's the entire universe of knowledge this chatbot needs to be an expert.
Now, before we can ask it questions, we have to prep its library. First, we load all the text from those web pages. Then, we split it all up into smaller, bite-sized chunks. After that comes the really cool part. We embed them. This means we convert those text chunks into numbers, kind of like coordinates on a map of meaning. This lets the AI understand the context of the words. And finally, we store all those numbers in a special, super-fast vector database. That's the library our AI is going to search.
Okay, the system is all prepped and ready to go. A customer lands on the website, opens the chat, and types in a super common question. Provide me the contact details. And boom! This is the magic. The RAG chatbot instantly gives the correct answer, pulling the phone number and address straight from the contact page. It didn't make it up, it didn't guess,
It knew the answer because it looked it up in its open book. Perfect.
Now, a little chatbot for a moving company, that's a great example, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg. Let's zoom out, because this is where it gets really exciting, and you can see why this technology actually matters to you.
Just think about the possibilities here. We're talking about customer service bots that actually know your order history and can solve your problem. Imagine being able to ask a question like, what were our sales in the third quarter last year, and having an AI instantly search every company report to give you the answer. Or what about a study tool that can quiz you on your own lecture notes? Or an AI assistant that actually knows what's in your personal files and projects? This changes everything.
So, I want to leave you with this one final question to think about. We are heading into a world where any AI can be given an open book for any subject. So when our technology can instantly find and understand any piece of information we feed it, what do you think becomes the most important human skill?